Hey everybody, I'm here with one of our incubator members. You may have seen him online. He's growing really quickly and he is making a huge impact in the health and fitness space. He has since the beginning of the year, we're recording this on February 27th. Since the beginning of the year, he has sold $14,000 of his new fitness coaching offer, specifically targeted to high performing Christian men. And we started working together a little bit before that, but really in January is when we dug in, and he started seeing these incredible results in his business. I'm so proud of him. I consider him a friend now. This is Sean McManus. Sean, say hello to all the people out there.
What's up, guys? Glad to be here with y'all. Pumped to be here talking to Harrison and just be able to chat with you guys a little bit about what's been going on and hopefully inspire some guys and push some guys to the next level.
Hey man, that's what we do. I hope people watching this are like, dang, well Sean's a superstar, but he did it. That means maybe I can do it. And they don't see how much of a they don't try to compare themselves too much, because how could anyone compare to the one and only Sean McManus? And so, dude, tell us, what were you doing? I guess before we met and before we got going inside the incubator. What did you try before? What were your biggest struggles? What were your biggest issues in business?
Yeah, man. So I had left my job, I don't know, close to a year before I got into the incubator, and I had done some coaching just part time. Fitness has always been super important to me. So, naturally, I was able to help some friends with that. So I had done some coaching before, just with a couple of guys on a pretty, I wouldn't say low ticket basis. I'd sold, just a couple guys on some higher ticket stuff, just through some research and talking to some other guys in the space. But man, I just didn't know where to go. Like, I didn't know what to do. The online space is completely new to me. I grew up doing, blue collar kind of work, and I know that the online is going to be able to grant me the kind of life that I want, where, it's more lucrative with finances, it's more time with my family, more time with my kids, and I'm able to be a bigger influence on their lives, and on the lives of the people that I care about. So it's definitely where I wanted to go, but I really just had no idea on what to do next. It's like, okay, I know I can use social media to get my name out there. I really had like zero following. Had no idea how to move forward on that. Just didn't, I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, but what the heck am I supposed to do to get there? Zero experience in any of that. That's where I was.
Yeah, yeah. So you knew there was a path, but you didn't know which path, what to do,
Yeah,
which path.
yeah. I spent so
Um,
much time just thinking about like, what the heck am I supposed to do now? So yeah.
what was it that stood out most about the way we talk about things in the incubator? I guess that kind of resonated with you, and what made you decide to take that leap and join us?
Yeah, man. So I think the biggest thing that resonated with me in the incubator is, not only having you and not only having the community of guys that are after, building a better life for themselves and their families, and just kind of moving that needle. But one of the biggest things that I love about it and that kind of drew me to it was that concept of you'll never not know what your next step is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Um, I'm an overthinker. Harrison knows this. We've had multiple conversations about it. I've gotten better at more action, less thinking, but I'm thinking like 20 steps ahead, and there's like one or two problems right in front of me that I need to solve right now. And that's been the beauty of the incubator and the beauty of having Harrison, working with him. It's like, this is what you need to focus on right now. Don't worry about the stuff that is 10 steps down the road, because you're not there yet. And that's been super helpful for me, just to know that, like, hey, this is the next action step. If you take the next action step, you're going to move the needle. That's been super helpful.
Man, that's music to my ears. I'm so glad that's because that to me was like the big value of the incubator from day one when I started it back in June of last year. And it's always been, if you know what to do at all times, you can't fail. And I'm able to, because I've done this long enough, know like here's what Sean needs to do next, here's what this guy needs to do next, here's what the next guy needs to do next. And then the other thing you said, which is really good to hear, is talking about solving the right problems. Because as a business owner, there at all times are a dozen or 100 problems that you could choose to solve. And you can never, ever, ever solve all of them. Never. Forget about it. And some of those problems are going to be immediate and in the moment. And some of those problems are going to be potential problems that might exist down the road in the future. And the mark of a smart business owner, especially in these early stages, is choosing to solve the ones that actually matter in the moment, not solving problems that don't exist yet. And that's where a lot of guys go wrong, is they'll see like, well, what if? They have all these what if problems, and they think I need to go solve those what if problems, when really you have other problems that are right now, right here, right in front of you, and you can't solve them both. So why would you waste your precious mental energy solving the things that don't exist yet? And you've done it. You've made a big leaps forward in that, as we've been going. So what were some of the big steps or strategies? What any big unlocks that you can share with people watching that you could credit to being responsible for this explosive 2 months you've had? And I'll say, Sean's got another sales call coming up right after this. So we said 14K that he sold in the new year since we dug in together. But it could be 16K. So I'll edit that if this call goes through.
Yeah, it's gonna be
But
16 by the end of today.
yeah, I believe it's going to happen. What do you credit that to? What were some of the strategies or big unlocks that you had that have helped with that?
Yeah, so going back a little bit to solving the problem right in front of you, that's been super helpful. Really focusing on sales versus focusing on like, okay, I've got to build a website. Like I have to have this name that I'm like super dialed into. I have to have a logo. Like I have to have merch. Like this is the kind of stuff that goes through my mind. I'm like this is cool stuff that I think about. It's like, well, you don't have any money because you're not making any sales. So like, let's make some sales before we try to do all of this other stuff that really doesn't matter if you're not making sales to begin with. So that's something that Harrison's harped on a lot, which has been super helpful. It's like, hey, bro, just go make some more sales. It's like, okay, awesome. Another unlock would probably be big unlock for me is just consistency. Um, I've talked about this a little bit. It's like, and I'm sure you guys have heard Harrison talk about this, but like there's 4 or 5 things that you need to be doing every day. And if you're not in a rhythm of doing those 4 or 5 things, like that's where your problem is. You need to figure out how to get into the routine of doing the things that you need to be doing day in and day out. And it's not super complicated, but you need to do them day in and day out. Just kind of make that promise to yourself that you're not going to go to bed. Like I've sent outreach messages at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and it wasn't because I thought I was going to get a lot of action from it. It's just because I told myself I was going to send these today, and I haven't got to it yet. So I'm going to send them before I go to bed. So the consistency is a huge piece. Another thing is not overthinking, taking more action and thinking less about it. So that's been another huge piece as well.
Yeah, man, that's another, like, the couple of things that you mentioned that I think are just so fundamental, and something that we work with every guy, especially every guy who comes in who's a beginner like you are, is this idea that, well, how can I be a business owner if I don't even have a website, or I don't even have a logo, or I don't even know what I'm going to call it? Like, those aren't problems that exist right now for you. The problem that exists when you're a brand new business owner is that you don't have any revenue. That's it. And all of those things, like the cool website, the cool logo, the cool name for your business, that stuff will be informed by your experience with your first few clients. So what you're getting, people get it backwards. It's like, you go talk to people who you can help and see if they'll let you help them. And once you have those experiences with those clients and you get feedback from them, and they'll say like, dude, this is what made you special. This is what made you unique. This is why I chose you over the 1,000 other fitness coaches that are out there. It becomes much easier to, they tell you who you are and what your value is, which is the right order to do things in. And the other thing you said, we call it the 4 wheels inside the incubator. There really are only 4 things that every single starting business owner needs to do every single day. And they are, first, to make sure that new people find out about you every single day. That's it. And there's a few ways to do that. But if you're making sure that new people find out that you exist and that you have a business and that you solve this particular problem every single day, you've accomplished the first wheel. The second wheel is you have to talk to those people. Sorry, If you don't want to talk to people, you're going to have a hard time, but you have to talk to those people who find out about you, and you have to ask them questions. You have to see if they're qualified to work with you and have the problem that you know you can solve. And you have those conversations where you nurture them. A lot of people call it lead nurturing. But basically what it is you're just talking to the new people who are in your world and understanding their problems. Wheel 3 is once you understand those people's problems and you've discovered that they have the problem you solve, you offer to help them. You ask for the sale. That's it. You have to do that. And if you do that every single day, it is mathematically impossible that you don't make money, especially if you're in the incubator and we tell you exactly how to do it. But if you were constantly every single day making that offer and saying, look, dude, sounds like you got this XYZ problem. Here's how I can help. Here's what it looks like. What do you think? You want to try it with me? Yeah, just say that every single day. At least one person, the more the better. That's wheel 3. And wheel 4 is once people have said yes, you give them the best experience that you can possibly give them. You deliver. New people
Yeah.
find out about you. You talk to those new people. You sell to those new people. You deliver to those new people. Anything else in these early days, if you're just starting out, and really up until you get to pretty high levels, anything else is a waste of time. And to watch you internalize that to me, once I saw that click for you, and I was like, dude, like those first couple weeks of January, like you got another one. And I'm like, he's doing the freaking work. He's doing the 4 wheels.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely a huge unlock. It's just like just focus on that stuff. That's the stuff that's important, and it's stuff that you had told me, 100 times, and it's like, no, 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 this is not all it is. But yeah, the kind of going back to wheel 2 and talking to people, it's like I even got to the point to where like if I was sending my outreach messages and I had just messaged this guy, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, because it got to the point where I was sending out so many outreach messages that I was like, okay, I'm a little to the point to where these guys are probably tired of hearing from me. Um, but at that point, I would just check in on them. Like I would see the message that I'd sent. I'm like, hey man, we would chat for a minute, and whether he accepted the offer or not, maybe he had something going on with his fitness already. I'd just check in, like, hey man, how's this going? He's like, man, great, thanks for checking in. Like that would just being there for people, and that was good because I was going through my list of people that I was sending messages to, so I was able to do that. But first getting started sending those messages, like guys, I had almost zero experience in sales starting off. So the super helpful thing with Harrison is like I'm sending him messages back and forth. I'm sending him screenshots. I'm like, hey, I don't know how to respond to this. Like I can, type up something. I don't know if it's going to be good or not good. And well, Harrison is the man and he's a master of sales. So it's like, hey, this is what this guy said. And he's like literally telling me how to respond. So that in and of itself is just like, I mean, you're getting sales coaching, obviously, when you sign up for this, but you've got a guy that's been doing this and has an incredible proven track record, and he's telling you what to say. Like you can't lose in that scenario. So that's been super helpful, and that's been a really good unlock in like understanding sales, understanding the process, understanding how I need to be responding to people in a way that fits me and fits my personality, but is also like moves the needle forward.
Yeah, the way I talk about it is I'll ghostwrite your sales for you. And
Yeah,
I'll ghostwrite those first few sales. And right now the incubators still are early enough to where I can do that. Eventually it'll get to a point where it's too big. So if you're watching this video 6 months from now, I don't know if we'll still be doing that, but get in soon because right now that's what I do.
exactly.
And we had a guy yesterday have his first sale, and he was sending me screenshots. He was like, "What do I say next?" And I was like, "Say this," and he closed it, and that's what
It's
happens.
incredible.
And
Yeah,
the cool thing is, you see it happen a couple times. Like even if I'm literally word for word ghostwriting your sales for you, or if you're doing it on the phone or a Zoom, send me the video, and I'll literally write up, "Here's what you should have said. Here's what you should have did." Um, but once you see it a couple times in the context of what you're offering and what your deliverables are, it clicks, and you don't need that anymore. You see it a couple times, you're like, okay, I get it, and then you need less and less help. But seeing it those couple like that was the unlock for me. Like, but a lot of people don't know this, but the first quote high ticket thing I ever sold was fitness coaching, and this was 3 years ago now. But I was selling it, and I was on call after call after call with just no idea what I was doing. And I burned so many good leads on so many sales calls because I had nobody to talk to. I had nobody to give me feedback until I hired Andy, who's another guy, another coach in the incubator. Every Thursday we do a sales training together inside the incubator live with all the members. And as soon as I hired him, it was the exact same thing. He was like, here's what you do, here's what you said wrong, here's what you said right, here's what you should have said. And once you get it just a couple times, you get it. And then that's enough to where you're closing consistently. You're not closing every call, but you're closing enough to where you can get the reps so that you're not burning leads. And that's how you build that skill, because you're doing it consistently and you're getting enough wins to build on and keep the momentum strong. So that was watching you. I remember the first one you closed, and I was probably more excited than you were. I was standing upstairs in my kitchen. I was cooking a mid-afternoon cheeseburger for myself, and we were going back and forth. I was like, "Here's what you do. And you're like, dude, he paid." That was like the first day, I think, or the second day.
So
Um,
that was less than 24 hours after we started working together. I
yeah,
closed my first $1,000 sale. Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Oh man, that's
awesome.
awesome. Good times. All right,
Yes.
dude. So we talked about results. We talked about kind of where you started, where you got. Why would you recommend the incubator? Who would you recommend it for, and why would you recommend it?
Oh man, I would recommend it to anyone that is looking to build an online business, or any type of business for that matter. I know, specifically you're pretty online right now, but I would recommend it to anyone that is going to do that. Number one, because you're going to give them the steps that they need, the important steps that they need first off, so they're not wasting time and money on stuff that isn't important. Because that's a big thing up front, guys. When you're starting a business, obviously you don't have any money, so why are you going to waste it on stuff that's not important when you need to be paying someone like Harrison to help you with sales so you get money so then you can do the stuff that you need to do. But anyone that wants to start an online business, anybody that wants to free up time and work for themselves, I would recommend it to them. Um, yeah, I mean, it's been a game changer for me, and I hope to continue to utilize my relationship with Harrison for like my entire career. And we're gonna celebrate some big wins here coming up. And um, but yeah, man, I would literally pitch it to anyone that wants to get started doing this. It's worth the investment in yourself and your business, especially if you're serious about moving forward.
Amen, man. I appreciate that, and it's been. I love doing these calls because it allows me to kind of go reflect and think about where you started and how far you've come and how fast you got there. And it makes me it's the most gratifying thing I do, work wise, especially day in and day out, is talking with guys like you and seeing the progress and seeing how it changes guys' entire family tree.
And so it's like, okay, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I've always wanted to be my own boss, and that's always just been super important to me. And like that's just it's part of how I'm wired. And I just for a long time I didn't know what to do. So coming in the incubator and working with you is just really giving me clarity on what I'm supposed to do. I know, like we talked about before, I know what I'm supposed to do next. Um, so yeah, just anybody that's serious about moving and actually wants to see good progress, like that's who I'd recommend it to.
Hey, man. Well, thank you for taking the time, Sean. I'm gonna let you go because you got that call coming up. I want you to close it. I want it 14K in 60 days. I want it to be 16K in 60 days, or yes, less than 60 days,
Less than 60.
58.
Yep.
Um, but thank you for the time, man, and I'll catch up with you here in a little bit.
Absolutely, bro. It's been great.
All right, peace.
Peace, man.